Good day, class! Before we start our lesson, let's have a short prayer. Hello, I am Mr. Jasper Janay Golia, your teacher in Technology and Livelihood Education, or you can call me Sir Golia. So for today, we will be discussing a new lesson. So how do you feel to become a hog raiser or poultry farmer someday? Do you have what it takes to farm animals someday? Or at least have a knowledge on using different tools and equipment in farming these animals? So in this lesson, we will be talking about use of farm tools and equipment. Specifically, you need to define the farm tools and equipment, identify farm tools and equipment according to their requirement or use, and perform preventive maintenance by following the proper procedure in sharpening and oiling farm tools. So before we proceed to our discussion, let's have an activity first. It is called Supply Me. So you will just, in each item, supply the missing letters to form a new word. So you have enough time and you need to write your answer on your activity notebook. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. So how do you feel about our activity so far? This time, the tools that you have encountered on our activity have 4 classifications. Namely, the cutting, pinching, or gripping tool. Next is the striking tool, the driving tool, and the struck or hammer tool. So for today's activity, you are tasked to identify or classify these following tools, whether it belongs to cutting, pinching or gripping, striking, driving, or struck or hammer tool. So you have enough time to complete this activity.
So we have here the 4 classifications of hand tools: the cutting, pinching, or gripping tool, the striking tool, the driving tool, and the struck or hammer tool. Can you point out where the hammer is? Where does the hammer belong? Is it in driving tool? How about the striking tool? Very good. Next is the plier. Where does the plier belong? Is it in cutting, pinching, or gripping tool? Very good. How about the screwdriver? Where does the screwdriver belong? Is it on struck or hammer tool? or in driving tool? Very good. The screwdriver belongs to the driving tool. How about the wrench? Very good. It belongs also to the driving tool. Last one, we have the punches. Where does the punches belong? Very good. It is in struck or hammer tool. When we say cutting, pinching, or gripping tool, these are the cutting tools that are used to remove some material from the workpiece by means of shear deformation. Pinching or gripping tools are a combination of pliers and clamp that can grip and hold items. Hence, the examples are the pliers and the cutters. The striking tool is a very basic hand tool consisting of a weighted head attached to a handle. The examples are the hammers and chisels. Driving tool is designed to insert, tighten, loosen, and remove screws, bolts, nails, and other pointed objects or hard-turned items by applying a torque. The examples are screwdrivers, nut drivers, hand wrenches, and T-handle wrenches. Last one are the struck and hammer tools. It is used to force a bolt, pin, or rivet in or out of a hole. Examples are the punches, nail sets, and chisels. The struck or hammer tool are always combined with the striking tools. So these are the 4 classifications of hand tools.
If you answered our activity correctly, I am sure that you already understand the differences between these classifications of hand tools. So there are several types of hand tools designed for specific purposes and varies according to their shapes and sizes. So each hand tool is designed for a particular task and should be used only for that purpose. Using a hand tool other than its intended use or purpose leads to various damages and can cause injury, pain, and fatality. Due to the changes brought by technology, some of these tools have been replaced by equipment to make the work much more efficient. But how do you define or how do you differentiate hand tools from equipment? You can write your answer on our activity notebook. When we say hand tools or farm tools, these are usually light and are used without the help of animals or machines. However, when we say equipment, it refers to a machine that is usually powered by electricity. Some of the farm tools or hand tools are the hammer, pliers, bolo, digging bar, and many more. However, equipment refers or examples are a circular saw, a drill, hand drill, electric drill, and many more. Aside from the hand tools presented a while ago, we also have the following hand tools. These are the recommended tools in performing animal production operation. So we have also 4 classifications. These are the farm tools, next electric tools, fencing tools, and the miscellaneous tools. Okay, let's start with the farm tools. Farm tools are instruments used in farms to aid the work, reduce labor, and improve effectiveness. So we have this first example of a farm tool. First is a shovel. So a shovel is used for removing trash, digging loose soil, moving soil from one place to another, and for mixing soil media. So as you can see, our shovel has a pointed tip. It is better used for removing soil and moving it from one place to another. It is also used to mix soil media. Next one is the flat spade. So it is like a shovel, but unlike a shovel, it has a straight edge or straight tip. So a flat spade is much more less efficient at digging but provides superior scooping and moving power. They are also used in cutting straight edges in sod and other surface materials. Next is the rake. A rake is used for cleaning the ground, used to collect leaves, hay, grass, and other materials that fall on our ground. And it is also used for leveling the topsoil. Next one is the spading fork. Spading fork is used for loosening the soil, digging out root crops, and manure cleanup around the barn. Next one is the bolo. A bolo is a large cutting tool of Filipino origin. It is similar to a machete. A bolo is used for cutting tall grasses and weeds and chopping branches of trees. It is also called itak in Tagalog, while others referred it to as binangon or talibong. So this is an example of a bolo. Another classification of farm tools and equipment are the electric tools. From the word itself, it is powered by electricity. First is we have the circular saw. A circular saw is its most common function is to make cuts in a straight line on pieces of lumber. Knowing its parts makes using a circular saw easier. So this is the modern type of traditional saw wherein we use physical power using our hands and arms. So using this circular saw, it makes our work much more easier and efficient. Another example of electric tool is the hand drill or hand driver. So most commonly used to drill holes and to drive in screws and other small fasteners. Most cordless drills these days are also designed to drive screws. That's why they are also called drill driver. So this is an example of a drill used to make holes on our walls and woods, while this is an example of a driver wherein we can drive in screws. Next classification is what we call the fencing tools. From the word itself again, it is used in building fences around our farm. First example is the fence post driver. A driver is a heavy iron tube that goes over the top of a T-post. So and that has handles on the side. Use it to pound the post into the ground. This is an example of a fence post driver, while this one is a T-post. A T-post is used to insert into the ground that will become our fence. So you will just insert the fence post driver over the T-post and pound it to the ground. That's why it has two handles on both sides. Next one is the fence plier. Fencing pliers have more capability than the typical set of pliers. They can be used as a medium-sized hammer. They have a robust claw on the back end for pulling fence staples, and they can cut through whatever it can fit between their cutting jaws. So fence plier is much more efficient in working on our farm. And the last one is the fence tester. A fence tester is a fault-finding electric fence tester to find voltage shorts on the fence line. The display will also show voltage in kilovolts and other readings in amperes. Arrows on the display will point in the direction of the fault. So basically, the fence tester is used to determine if our fence are powered by electricity or not. Last classification are the miscellaneous tools, or this one are the tools that we can also use in performing animal production operation. We have the pocket knives. I know some of you are familiar with pocket knives. This is a handy all-in-one tool that includes a nail file, a plier, a knife, can opener, scissors, blade, Phillips screwdriver, a wood saw, and others combined all together. So this is an example of a pocket knife when we open all of these tools. And it is also compact that we can put it on our pockets, hence its name pocket knives. Next is the heavy duty flashlight. So it is a must when light storms go out during a heavy storm, or when you need to tend or visit the livestock emergency in the pasture at 2 a.m. Next is the garden hose. It is a must, but when buying, buy or purchase the longest and the strongest available. We can use the garden hose in cleaning the farms and the cages of our animals. Last but not the least is the digging bar. It is used for digging large rocks for the garden, construction sites, and also fence hole. So we have two ends on our digging bar that serve a specific purpose. Those are the tools and equipment that we can use in performing animal production operation efficiently. But what if there will be a time that our tools and equipment will look like this? Have you encountered this kind of problem? As we always said, prevention is better than cure. Farm tools and equipment play a vital role in performing animal production operation. They help and make our work much more easier. But as farmers who work rigorously day in and out, there will be a time that our tools and equipment will wear down eventually. It is important that before performing this operation, you have enough knowledge in performing preventive maintenance to prevent our tools and equipment from wearing down. Here are the cleaning supplies that we need to maintain our tools and equipment clean. We need to have these materials. We have the detergent, garden hose, sprayer, sponge, and old rags or towels. We also need the cleaning tools, specifically a steel wool, a scrub brush, wire brush, rotary wire brush, and a sandpaper that has an 80 and 120 grit. As well as sharpening tools, a fine metal file and a sharpening stone to hone the edges of our tools. And also some lubricating oil, so such as boiled linseed oil, a tang oil, motor oil, lamp oil, or even the cooking oil. Boiled linseed and tang oil are probably the best choice, but you can use whatever you have on hand or whatever available at your home. And the last one is the safety equipment. We need to wear gloves, eye protection, and a dust mask when working on our farms. It is not enough that we have a knowledge on these materials and equipment that we can use in cleaning our tools and equipment. It is much more important that we have a working knowledge and we are trained in cleaning our tools and equipment. So here is a video that will help you learn the proper way of cleaning your farm tools and keeping it sharp. Keeping your tools sharp saves time and energy. When you are in a hurry to get your work done, you may not want to take the extra few minutes needed to stop and sharpen your tools. But it is well worth the effort for one reason. Your work will go faster and easier with sharpened tools. Following these steps will help you learn the proper way to sharpen your farm tools. Step 1. Clean the blades. Whatever type of farm tool you are using, clean the blade with a stiff brush and soapy water to remove any rust, clump dirt, and other debris. Step 2. Examine the sharpness. Examine the blade edge to determine the correct sharpening angle, usually about 10 to 15 degrees. Step 3. Begin grinding the blades. Start with a medium grain whetstone. Thoroughly wet the stone by soaking it in water or lightweight motor oil. To maintain the correct angle, press the blade against the concave side of the stone while sharpening. Use numerous strokes, moving the blade in one direction toward the tip so as if you are trying to shave off a thin slice from the whetstone. Do not press too hard. Step 4. Smooth the edges. Once you've achieved the proper angle and sharpness, move to using a finer grain whetstone and continue sharpening until you achieve a razor sharp edge. Don't reduce the bevel edge to less than 1 mm thickness. Step 5. Test the sharpness. Conduct a preliminary test without having to make a trip outside. Simply hold the cutting edge up to a light source. If you can see a light reflecting off the blade edge, it is not yet adequately sharpened. Last step, step 6. Add a coat of oil. Finish off the blades by rubbing a light coat of oil. Remember, dirt that sticks to the tools acts as a sponge, collecting moisture and causing rust. So be sure to keep dirt off your tools when they're not in use. So how do you find the video? Based on the video, what do you think are the proper procedures in keeping your tools sharp? Let's start with the first step. Step 1. We need to clean the blades. Step 2. We need to examine the sharpness. Step 3. We need to begin grinding the blades. Step 4. We need to smooth the edges. Step 5, we need to test the sharpness, and step 6, we need to add coat of oil. So those are the proper ways and procedures in keeping our tools sharp. So why do you think preventive maintenance should be always observed in all farm activities? Very good. A well-maintained tools and equipment will help farmers from buying and purchasing new tool and equipment, which means lesser expenses and greater profit. So those are the tools and equipment as well as the proper way in performing preventive maintenance that will help you in performing animal production operation. Today, let's check your understanding regarding our discussion for today. You may get your notebook and let's start answering this activity. You only have 5 minutes to finish this activity. Are you ready? Self-check. Direction. Complete the concept map. Time's up. Let's check your answers. So you will just complete the concept map. We have here the 5 tools. You need to enumerate the 5 hand tools. So what are those 5 hand tools? We have the plier, wrench, a hammer, screwdriver, and punches. Next, the 5 farm tools. What are those? We have the flat spade, a shovel, a bolo, a rake, and spading fork. How about the 2 electric tools? We have the circular saw and a drill or driver. How about the fencing tools? We have a fence post driver, a fence plier, and a fence tester. Next are the miscellaneous tools. So what are those? We have the digging bar, a pocket knife, a heavy-duty flashlight, and as well as a garden hose. Next, what are the 6 steps in performing preventive maintenance? First, we have the step 1, clean the blades. Step 2, examine the sharpness. Step 3, begin grinding the blades. Step 4, smooth the edges. Step 5, test the sharpness. And step 6, add a coat of oil. For those who got the answers correctly, that is very good. I bet you already understand our discussion. For those who missed some points, you can review always our discussion and try to answer our activity again. As a TL student, it is not only important that you have a knowledge in performing and using these hand tools and equipment. So I have here a question. As a concerned teenager, how can you help or encourage a teenager like you to become responsible in using farm tools in animal production? Very good. In order to encourage others in becoming responsible in using farm tools and equipment, you should be the role model first by checking the tools and equipment first before using them. And also having a knowledge on basic tools and equipment and how to perform preventive maintenance will lessen the accidents in our farm. I am sure that you are already capable enough to perform these operations on our farm. So let's try your capabilities. Let's have this activity. So you will look for a tool or equipment with its manufacturers and specification. You need to ask help from your parents or other relatives to demonstrate to you on how to check these farm tools and equipment before using them following the manufacturer's specifications. After that, make a reflection paper about your observation. Then, try the pre-operational checkup and write their comments or suggestions on your performance. You need to use the rubric as your guide. So here is our rubric. So you have 10 minutes to perform this activity and good luck. Time's up! After doing your activity, take a picture of your answer and send it to our Facebook group chat. For your assignment, I want you to get your activity notebook again and copy the direction of your assignment. You need to make a compilation of the farm tools and equipment used in animal production on your locality. After copying and answering it, take a picture of your work and send it again to our Facebook Messenger group chat. And that's it for our lesson for today. I hope that you learned something from our discussion that you will apply someday if you are going to do animal production operation. Always remember to stay safe and don't go outside. Again, this is Sir Golia, your teacher in Technology and Livelihood Education. See you next meeting. Goodbye!